All right, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. I know folks are probably going to start flowing back in, but we're going to crack right on with our next session this morning, real quick as well. There's a QR code on the screen here. So at the end of the session tomorrow, one of our speakers, Rich Swartz, who some of you had the joy of hearing earlier on, Rich is going to be doing a feedback curated panel session right at the end of the day tomorrow, and it's going to obviously be driven by topics and content that you want to hear of in a kind of a discussion-based format. So if anybody wants to hop in on that and share their 2 cents at the moment or at various points during the event, please go ahead and do so. And then obviously we will build the panel session around the feedback that we receive from you all as well. So these QR codes, we'll put them up periodically throughout the event during the breaks and so forth, and obviously tomorrow. But anytime you want to hop in and there's an idea or a topic that you'd like to contribute towards, please share your feedback with us. We're going to move right on to our next speaker this morning. I'd like to introduce Peter Friedman. Peter's the CEO, the chairman and CEO of Liveworld. Some of you are obviously familiar with Liveworld. They've been a supporter of ours at the Biopharma Marketing Summit for a number of years. Obviously, we're delighted to have Peter with us this year, who's going to be presenting around the intelligence economy, and obviously, I'll leave things simple in that respect, and he'll obviously go on to some levels beyond that. But there's some interesting character notes on Peter himself, a little bit about his background, in addition to obviously founding Liveworld, and obviously that organization is, I believe, close to 30 years old, I should say. He's a fine art photographer, professional photographer in the area of fine art. He also, when he was younger, was a trainee magician, and I'll keep things as simple as that. So he's obviously a man of many tricks. And he's actually going to be sharing some perspectives on human-led, AI-powered intelligence products for pharma and some of the work that his team's doing there. So there'll be a little bit of time at the end for Q&A. If anybody would like to ask any questions, please raise your hands. We'll mic, obviously, the audience there. And please join me in welcoming Peter as our next speaker this morning. Thank you.
Okay. Well, hello, everybody. I'm Peter. I feel as if I've known some of you for 6 or 7 minutes when I went around and said hello. I'll get to all of you after. I'm here to talk today about the intelligence economy, and we'll start with our favorite word of the day, AI. No booze? Okay, we're not at a college graduation ceremony. I wanted to make sure of that. You can't really blame them because you've been in school for 4 years, you probably have all this debt, and now you're being told there's no jobs because of AI, and if there is a job, it's all going to be replaced. So there's a lot of pressure. And speaking of that, by a show of hands, how many people feel there's a lot of pressure in your company about adopting AI or doing something with AI? Everybody? Pretty much everybody. And for all those people and anybody else, would you say your company is more focused on creating new value in the marketing area with AI, or are they mostly focused on how can we save money? Save money? It's mostly save money, right? And has everybody heard about this, the job apocalypse? That's a big favorite topic. And everybody's kind of worried, and we see that. In fact, one company that we showed our new product to, at the end I said, what do you think? And the big pharma company, maybe one of you. And the first words out of their mouth was, well, we had another one of those meetings this morning about how we're going to use AI and replace ourselves, so maybe this will help. Not that our product does that. So there's a lot of pressure about that. But I have a lot of questions about this idea of a job apocalypse. But first, to illustrate it, let's have a little quiz. This is something somebody said, a big tech leader kind of a person, I paraphrased it. This technology is so great, it's going to get rid of half the work, meaning jobs. So what I want to see, if anybody can guess, What technology, that's kind of the easy one, when was this said, and who said it? What technology? AI. When was this said? 2022? 2023? And who said it? Altman. Good guess. Those are really good guesses. But this actually was said about the Macintosh. It was said in 1984 and by Steve Jobs. Not out in front of everybody. It was in a conference room at Apple. I worked at Apple. I was one of the product managers in the Macintosh division. And we're all sitting there working, and he walked in and went, the Macintosh and the Macintosh office is so awesome. It's so great. No one's going to have any work to do. The productivity is incredible. We need more games. Among my other products, I was the game product manager. And all of us, the 4 or 5 of us, went, yes, Steve, more games, more games. We didn't look at each other. If we had, we would have noticed how rumpled we were and how exhausted. Because at the time, the marketplace only had like 2 applications, Mac Paint and Mac Project or something. You couldn't really do anything with it. We had everything. All the applications that would come that you all use now, and we were using them. And what we found is, it didn't make us have only, work half time. It made us do all the work we were doing before in less time and compressing our brains and create even more work for us to do to fill up the rest of the day and even more time. We didn't save everybody all that time. We basically created a work generator that you had to work harder in the same time and work more hours. Did you all notice that? Sorry, that's how it goes. And this is not the first time or the last time that happened, which is what I want to talk about this job apocalypse stuff. If we look at the history of technology leverage over time, and we go back to the agrarian economy, there it is, people were farming manually with all kinds of things, and then all kinds of technology was created to help you with your farming. Cotton gin and plows and all kinds of other things. And that actually did replace a bunch of jobs, but it created more because more land could be tilled, more markets could be reached, there was greater production. It generated all kinds of other jobs, a whole bunch of which nobody got paid for 100 years, and other marketplaces and things to do. And then we go to the Industrial Revolution in the 1800s, and again, people said, oh my God, all the people putting things together by hand, they're out of work, there's gonna be no jobs. But then you needed people to operate the equipment and invent new equipment and to fix the equipment, and it generated an entire new mass of jobs. Jump ahead to after World War II. I stuck this one in. It's not really in the Harvard Business School book, but I think we needed a filler. After World War II, you have big business and all these white-collar jobs and IBM typewriters and Selectrics and then word processors, all this paper getting pushed all over the place, giant mainframes, and a lot of jobs were replaced if things were done manually, but a great many more were created. Then we come back to the information economy. This is where Steve Jobs said what I told you. The personal computer and the beginning of the internet, and that was the information economy, coined by Peter Drucker of the Harvard Business School, and the knowledge worker. Because you had access to some knowledge, you could do more with it. And that's didn't make us less work, it made us more. Well, today, we have literally all the knowledge of the world, well, in your hands, but don't look at your phone now, look at me. And AI managing all of it with great intelligence. And we see this as the intelligence economy. And the challenge and the opportunity is to harness that technology, humans harness the technology, and create more value and do more things with it, and we all become intelligence workers, and we need intelligent systems to do it, which is our new product, but I'm not talking about that today. And a key thing about this is, are you looking to use the AI to just become more efficient or to add more value? And a great many companies are looking at just to be more efficient. Well, AI, when you just use it to become more efficient, is pretty generic. And the companies that only hyper-focus on that are essentially going to commoditize themselves out of business. And it could be one of your $50, $60 billion pharma companies or a little company. If you don't look for where you can add more value and turn your people into intellectual force multipliers, you're not adding value and you're going to go out of business. And certainly all the pharma companies in the science part are using AI that way. They're not just saying, how can we make drugs more efficiently? They're looking how to make new and better drugs that work better. So pharma science is always changing, and with all this change, this last couple of years and going forward, marketing is changing at a higher velocity state than it ever did. Patients' dynamics are changing. They want biologics, they want special therapies. They're looking not only at the medicine, but the convenience, the quality of life. They're seeking information from their peers on social media more than from other doctors. And they're all using AI now to figure out what they want to do. And doctor dynamics are changing, how they prescribe, their willingness to adopt new treatments, and they're seeking information from their peers on social media more than anywhere else. And not just like Sermo and Doximity. Urologists are sharing prostate cancer scans on Instagram. And you might not think they would do that, but if you're that person, you're like, well, where do we put up the pictures? Oh, we put them up here. So the use of social media by physicians for professional reasons is like 80, 90% now. And they're using AI. And then we have APPs, and the big thing there are APPs are not HCPs. And pharma generally has a blind spot to this, marketing to them as if they are, but they have different considerations. They're in different media. They are writing acknowledged over 25% of prescriptions, but between writing them under the doctor's name and their direct influence, they actually influence 50, 60% of the actual prescriptions that get made. And we're not talking to them enough, and they're using AI. So what's a pharma marketer to do? Well, first off, you need 24/7 real-time information from audiences, about competitors, about market dynamics. You have to understand the conversations that people are having, because the dynamics that are influencing adherence, both medical and or drug and treatment, and decisions are happening there, not in the places where it used to happen. You have to think about what is the scientific information versus the real-world experience that is driving what people think. And sure, AI, but what can we rely on? That's a big question and a big issue. What's real, what's not, and in healthcare, it's kind of literally life or death if you don't get it right. And on top of all that, compliance. The compliance side of our business isn't going anywhere. So for AI to help, you really have to think about a few very specific things. The first one is getting the data right. Again and again, we hear companies walking around going, we look at billions of pieces of content a day. If anybody says that to you, that should be the end of the conversation. You don't want to be looking at billions of pieces of content every day. The more content AI looks at, the more it makes mistakes, the more it hallucinates, the more it can't figure everything out. Think of it as a chain link, and there's missing links. And most AI will say, oh, there's a missing link. I'll make something up to fill it in. That's one cause of hallucinations. And sometimes it's okay, but generally it's not so great. You have to have data that is relevant and focused. In our case, that is very focused on healthcare, not diluted. You know, LLMs don't know anything for all this AI intelligence. It doesn't know anything until it looks at the data. And it's kind of a, you know, garbage in, garbage out, good in, good out. You have to be very, very careful about what your AI is looking at. Second, you want to get the AI right. For medical, generalists are good, but for a lot of what we're doing, you really need a specialist. You need AI that has been tailored for healthcare, understands the language, the vocabulary, the types of things it's looking at, not to fill in gaps, not to take certain types of information, what's compliance all about. And last but most important is the human-AI balance. And we believe, and we're redefining our company as human-led, AI-powered. And that's based on the belief that humans can make the AI better, and AI can make the humans better. And you know, that history I showed you, that's happened every single time. And you really have to think about it that way. How can that work, and what can you do to do it? And for human-led to work, and I don't mean human in the loop. Human in the loop, and it's fine if you use that term, but human in the loop, HITL, yeah. That's the software people, and my company's part software company when I say this. We're a software company, a moderation, digital agency, and an intelligent systems company. Software people made up that acronym because they couldn't escape the humans, so they diminished it with an acronym. It tends to mean have the humans check it. That's not bad, but that's not what I mean by human-led. By human-led, I mean human judgment, not just checking. Human innovation, not just accepting. Choosing the right content. Let's use sentiment as an example. Now, that's an important item. Positive, negative, neutral. Doesn't sound so hard. Anybody in here work in a social listening group with the tech for that? Anybody? Well, if they did, they would tell you, how much do you trust technology to get sentiment right? Not at all. It doesn't get it right. Tech or AI, it doesn't do it. For one thing, they tend to rely on emojis. I'm not kidding you. A lot of these algorithms go, oh, look, it's a happy face. Didn't exactly realize how sarcastic people are with their emojis or how they combine them. But if you combine human and AI, you can actually get it right and better than either could by itself. Deeper, more textured and nuanced meaning and details. Often AI kind of loses the details. Understanding patients' fears and motivations. If you don't look at deeper, texture, nuance, and inference, you can't get real meaning. And then interpreting the difference in these different voices. And then something new, anything new. AI is very good at looking at patterns of what came before. And it might go, oh, this is different, but it doesn't know what to do with it. And you need human judgment and human nuance to do that. So again, humans can make the AI better, and AI makes the humans better. Now, you don't hear that a lot around this, because the people you're hearing mostly from are investors in AI products. And I've invested a lot in our company on it, but I'm talking about big money that wants big stock prices and giant IPOs and all that. And a lot of software people who don't believe this. They just don't believe it. They just think it's all going to replace everything. And our new product has like 12 patents pending, hundreds of pages and all these claims and everything. And we have like this really kick-ass AI patent lawyer. And he's got 10 AI PhDs. And we went to him and said, and now here's where the AI and the humans work together, and this is the part the humans do that the AI can't do. And he went, oh, but can't the AI do that? And we went, no, and we'll explain why. And we did. And they went, oh, we didn't think about that. Nobody in the AI community is thinking about that. You have a patent. Now, the critical thing is they didn't see it, so they didn't believe it. But let me give you another Steve Jobs quote, which isn't very well known. It isn't seeing is believing. First, you have to believe it, and then you'll see it. If you don't believe in the human value, you don't look for it. And that's all these guys talking. But if you believe it and you look for it, you find it. And even if you think the AI will replace a lot of human stuff, if you understand that every time it does it, it opens up new opportunities for what humans can do. If you believe it, you'll see it, you'll find a way to do it, and in everybody's job, you can help your company not just commoditize, but add more value. So I urge you to believe this, and if you believe it, you'll see it, you'll create more value. Instead of wondering whose jobs you're going to be getting rid of, you'll be looking for how can I hire more people to do all this new value that we created. So believe that, and we'll have the world that we want. And now we'll take questions.
Thank you, Peter. Let's give Peter a round of applause real quick. Thank you. Great. Would anybody like to comment, ask any questions, or I know Peter was kind of throwing some things out to the audience. Any quick questions or comments while it's front of mind? Anyone?
Oh, there must be something. There we go.
Here we go.
What do you think are going to be the most timelessly human valuable pieces in the pharma marketing ecosystem or workflow?
Did everybody hear? What do I think will be the most valuable human part? I think the emotional tension that patients and doctors and everybody feels. One thing that, we've been in healthcare a long time, and healthcare is the third largest usage pattern in social media. Games is always number one, and sex and romance is sex and romance is one, and games is number two, and healthcare is number three. And depending on what you're doing in the games and the sex, then they're part healthcare anyway, right? So the reason for that is it's an extraordinarily emotional and personal subject matter. And people want to know what other people like them are feeling and experiencing. And you don't know where you could have the common cold or very rare brain cancer. You don't know where the other people are. They could be in the apartment next door on the other side of the country. Social media drops that. It's extraordinarily emotional, and people want to know what other humans are experiencing. They don't want to know what the AI is experiencing. They want to know what you are experiencing, somebody like me. That nuance, that texture of it helps you understand people, what type of medical products they need, how they'll experience, how to help them. Even if AI could make itself out to be so perfectly human that you couldn't tell, and it can't, not star date any time in our lives, but let's just say one day it could, it's still not good enough, because I as a human want to know there's another human there. So that human tension among patients or doctors who are trying to figure out what to do, that's the biggest part. Having a feeling for that you accumulate from all your experience and then translate into what's going on. Now, you can use a lot of AI stuff to help you with that, but ultimately it can't feel. And it can't be what the other person wants to know somebody cares about them. He's going to go with a mic, so there's a mic.
Hi, Jim Ellis, Insight Pharma. So given that pharmaceuticals is always, at least on the media end, more of a lagging industry in adopting new platforms, new technology and stuff, what do you think the timeline is for adopting more AI-driven tech, especially from the media side, and how would you recommend us media planners going about introducing those to like our MLR teams, the higher-ups, the decision makers?
Well, I think that you're right. Pharma tends to lag, and ultimately, the patients, consumers will pull them over the line on many, many things. But all the compliance and stuff kind of holds you back. I think it should move very fast, and you should push very hard, because the pressure from AI is going to come from all directions and top down on this efficiency cost thing. And the way to deal with that is to look for things that add value. And if you don't push for that, then you're going to kind of get run over by the efficiency, and then companies will get rid of people and they go, oops, that was a big mistake, and then they'll have to bring them back. So, and I think most pharma companies at the top feel a lot of pressure. They're worried about their jobs too, by the way. And they're worried about the company, because there's a lot of structural advantage the AI could undermine. So I would push very hard as soon as you can for it, because this is a situation where if you don't get out in front of it, you can get run over it. But you can get, it can be done in a way that is positive, or it can have negative consequences for the company. And I would say most corporations and companies are going about it the wrong way. They're like, do this or die, instead of, how can I empower you to make use of this? But they're all scared. So if you come in with how we can empower ourselves to make use of it, I think you'll hear, people will be very receptive to that.
Very interesting topic. So you wrote down, or you said, get the data right, and also get the AI right, which is, I guess, the model, the algorithm that you want to use. How would you advise companies on that journey of getting the AI right? What should they be looking for? How should they test the models? What would your be advice to somebody to explore that space?
Well, first you have to kind of buy into what I said, right? And that's the hardest part. And then instead of rushing at everything, try to be more narrow and focused in what people are doing. Look for companies like ours that are trying to make products that do this kind of thing. I also think that while you need to have some level of governance on what people are doing, you have to know what people are doing. You should encourage people to experiment, just like not on people's personal information, so that you encourage people to try different things. Not leaderboards, who's using the most AI, but who's doing interesting things. In our company, we spent quite a while talking about it. Then we trained everybody. We didn't make everybody use it or your job's out. We trained everybody. Then we had contests. And look, well, how are you using it? How can you affect your job? Can you make it more efficient? Can you add more value? Can you just do something interesting? And I think, the people in the company kind of know what their business is all about. If you empower them, then you'll find more ways of doing it. I would be wary of one-size-fits-all solutions. And I would be wary of just using generic AI when you're marketing in a healthcare environment. that's not, I'm not saying don't use it, but don't rely on that for everything.
Wonderful. Let's give Peter a round of applause. Thank you again. Thank you for your questions as well. Appreciate it. Thanks, Peter. Appreciate it. Thank you. Right. And in fact, actually, just